Democrats?
Over here.
This is very good. Hey, guess what? We have a deal in Washington. For the first time in years, there's actually a budget. They went into conference. The House passed the budget. The Senate passed the budget. And they came up with it. I was not astonished to see the President of the United States took credit for it. Under my direction, I told them to come up with a budget, so they did. Is either side happy? No. Does it show titanic switching of the tax system in order to balance out the budget? No. Does it reinvigorate the Pentagon? No. But do they agree to at least finance for the next 2 years? Yes.
Here's essentially what it is. No government shutdown, no tax increases, no incentives for people not to work, and some modest entitlement reform as well. But the key is it does avoid a shutdown, which will keep the Republicans' focus on the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, which is not working. Paul Ryan says there are a number of people on the other side of the aisle. They wanted to shut things down.
I think there are a lot of people who would like the distraction of government shutdown for one reason or another. I think they'd like to get off Obamacare, and by not shutting the government down, we're not going to get off Obamacare. We're going to keep doing our oversight. We're going to keep speaking truth to power. We're going to keep shining the light on these problems with the law, and that, to us, gives us in a good position.
He's basically saying, he was on Greta Van Susteren last night, basically saying that the Democrats are trying to somehow take the focus off of Obamacare. So they're loosening sanctions in Iran and passing this budget deal now. What do you think?
Well,
what's your comment?
Yeah, they basically restored $63 billion in automatic cuts. I'm going to talk to General Odierno shortly about how he feels the military was taken care of, because they do stop some of the drastic meat axe cuts on the Pentagon, but they don't do it all the way. They restore $52 billion worth.
Yeah, the worst part is that it does break the Budget Control Act, the so-called sequester, because remember, that was just going to be 2% of future increases in spending. And now what they're going to do is they're going to limit those. Ultimately, though, the Democrats realize that they need to do something, to your point, Ainsley, because the Obamacare thing is dragging them all down. When you look at a brand new Q poll, the Quinnipiac poll, how is the president handling health care? Well, 62% of you disapprove. Only a third of the country approves. When it comes to the economy, which we're all worried about, close to 60% disapprove, and a little north of a third approve of how the president is handling that.
Right. And also, in the same poll, American voters also disapprove of Congress by the tune of 74 to 19%. So well, they're not happy with anything to do with Washington right now. But
that's historic.
Yeah, but the president's disapproval at 57%, that stands out. His approval's at 38%.
Approval rating. 57%, and then 38% approve.
Although the Times has it up to 42% approval rating.
But here's the thing that's got to have the president's, John Podesta's been called in to help him out. This next number is the one he's got to work on, and that is the president's approval rating with independents. It's the independents who get people elected and provide all sorts of things, political cover. Only 30% of independents now approve of the job the president of the United States is doing. There's the president right there.